Is the Rimac Nevera the new king of speed? In fact, it's so impressive that it's been crowned with a name that reflects its incredible nature. But what exactly makes this car so special? From its sleek exterior to its luxurious interior, we're going to explore every inch of this engineering marvel. Rumor has it that this is the quickest accelerating production car in the world. Is it really? The design of the rear is full-on wow. It's all carbon fiber and there's a low venturi tunnel that can raise and lower depending on what you need for aerodynamics. The rear wing changes its angle of attack based on the driving mode you're in, and it also works as an air brake to help you slow down. It's a nice looking rear end. These vents are directing air into the radiators, which cool the rear motors. Moving down the side of the car, you'll notice a bow tie shape inspired by 17th century Croatian soldiers. It's like a tribute to them. The wheel design is really nice too. The 20-inch alloys and a center locking nut like on racing cars. The car has a sleek profile that looks good without being too flashy. Moving around the front, you'll see more vents and radiators. There's even more active aerodynamics here, with the front splitter able to lower or raise depending on what's happening with the car. The vent in the bonnet helps cool the radiators too. But if the outside temperature is too hot, like it is today, it might melt. In fact, that can close up, and then you'll still need some cooling. There is an air conditioning unit in there that activates to cool the batteries and motors at the front. Then of course there are some LED lights that have been completely designed for the car. They are bespoke. What do you think of this design? We like it. It looks expensive, unique and special, but it doesn't scream, "Look at me, I'm a hybrid guy." It's more restrained. It's nice. Now let's talk about the chassis. This car is completely made out of carbon fiber. It actually has the largest carbon fiber monocoque chassis of any car in the world. Most cars have a carbon fiber tub but hang off metal subframes. This car doesn't do that. It's all carbon fiber, except for the crash structures at the front and the back. Being carbon fiber, it's extremely rigid with a structural rigidity of 70,000 Newton meters. To put that into perspective, a Le Mans LMP1 racer, which is super rigid, just has 50,000 Newton meters. This car has double wishbone suspension all around with adaptive dampers. You can choose between 3 different modes: soft, medium, and hard. There are also various driving modes like cruise, sport, track, and more, which is pretty cool. You can even customize a couple of modes yourself. You can mix and match all these different things like throttle response and steering weight just as you like them. Then there's another feature where the amount of torque on both axles can be controlled. You can adjust the torque at the rear axle from 100% down to 0% if you want. You can even control the torque at the front axle from none to 100%. It's completely amazing what you can do with this car. Of course, it's got torque vectoring because each wheel is controlled by a motor. This means you can send power and torque exactly where it's needed. When you're going into a corner, the car will brake the inside wheels using the motor and accelerate the outside wheels, which help you turn around. This means you can drive it however you want to. It's about time we got one of those. Because it can regen brake up to 300 kilowatts, what does that mean? Well, 300 kilowatts is about 400 horsepower, which is roughly the same as a BMW M2. It's like having a BMW M2 attached to you, pulling you backwards. So, the regen can brake up to 0.6 G, and the car's maximum braking G-force is 1.2 G. A lot of that braking is done through regen, and they've blended in the friction brakes so smoothly that you won't even notice. Yeah, that's a lot of torque, isn't it? Let's brake test it. Let's see how long it takes for this car to stop from 70 miles per hour. Ignore the kilometers per hour. Here we go, here we go, here we go, there we go. 43 meters. This car is full of records. 120 kilowatt hours, the largest battery pack fitted to any production EV. You charge it by lifting it up, this flap here, and then you have your ports, AC and DC. This car can actually charge really quickly, up to 500 kilowatts. It'll go from 0 to 80% full in just 18 minutes. But we're talking about the future here, because there are no 500 kilowatt chargers available to the public right now, but they're coming. So if you go to a normal 50 kilowatt charger, it'll take you about 2 hours to charge this car. The battery itself and how they positioned it in the car is very interesting. Normally with electric cars, they just put the batteries at the bottom underneath, like a skateboard design. The problem with putting batteries at the bottom is that it can make it a little awkward to get in and out of the car. However, in this car, they've done something different. They've actually placed the majority of the batteries behind it, almost like a mid-engine car. There are also more batteries in the spine and some in the footwell as well. As a result, the car sits nice and low, which is what you want from a hypercar. Usually, hypercars are a pain to get in and out of because of their huge sills. Despite the cutout in the roof and these amazing doors, the still isn't very fat, so you can easily get in and out in a dignified way without banging your head. They've really thought about everything. Okay, inside the Navara, it's very futuristic for a hypercar. Inside, it just feels like a normal hypercar, if there is such a thing. The dashboard design is simple and nicely laid out. The driving position is good, and the material quality is excellent, apart from one thing. These air vents here feel a little bit plasticky, but there's exposed carbon fiber and lovely leather alcantara here. It's great. And the seats are comfortable. You can actually move them by using the screen. You press a button on the screen to move them up and down, and you do the same with the steering wheel, adjusting it in and out. It's all very Tesla-like. It's a bit annoying though, that you have to control all functions pretty much through the screen. The ventilation system, for example, you have to adjust through the screen. There is more storage behind the screen where you can put things and forget where you left them. We have some cup holders which apparently have been engineered to hold a bottle in place. Even though it's a bit wobbly when you're drifting and cornering at high Gs, it's still been tested. And there's the smallest glove box. The original prototype actually had 2-speed gearbox on the rear axle, like the Porsche Taycan does. However, they switched to a single-speed gearbox because that saved 100 kilos. Despite all this though, there's no getting away from the fact that batteries add weight, and that is one big battery. As a result, it weighs a lot. It's a bit heavy. Something like a Chiron comes in at under 2,000 kilos. This is a super luxurious hypercar, but you do get a lot of noises in the cabin. The main reason for that is that those noises aren't drowned out by the engine. So share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Until next time.